You guys already know, so get your popcorn ready and let's do this. Scary Louisiana urban legends. Starting us off with number 10 are the Vampire Brothers. Has anyone seen the originals or the Vampire Diaries? I feel like these legends sort of remind me of that plotline with vampires in New Orleans, etc. But anyway, during the 30s, brothers John and Wayne Carter lived somewhere in the French Quarter of New Orleans. During it, police later found multiple other people tied to chairs with their wrists slit in their apartment, alongside dozens of dead bodies that had no blood. The story was that the brothers were misbehaving. Their punishment would be sitting alone on the staircase going up to the 3rd floor. He remembered that every time he did that, he saw a woman wearing a white dress that he just didn't recognize, and she always had with her a something confirmed. At number 4 is Count Saint-Germain. Now, Count Saint-Germain was the epitome of a vampire. All you've been told is a vampire basically, or stuff like Twilight. He spoke 6 languages, was a master of the violin and piano, and he also composed his own music. He was insanely rich, even though no one knew where his wealth came from, but he claimed he was the son of Francis II, who was the Prince of Transylvania. So his wealth could have been from being royalty, but no one even knew anything about his family or lineage. There was just no information about him. But supposedly he was very skilled at alchemy and had figured out how to attain immortality. He looked around 40 years old in all his portraits, and that look lasted for over half a century. And no one's 40 for that long, honey. Even at social dinners, no one ever saw him eat. He would just sip wine and speak about things that just made you feel inferior. He died in 1784, but there have been countless stories of people having seen him after that. In the 20th century, a man moved to New Orleans called Jacques Saint-Germain, who looked exactly like the Count and had the same wealth and knowledge. Again, having dinner parties, but only ever sipping wine. Apparently, one night a woman stayed late at his house and he tried to bite her neck, but she escaped and reported it to the police. When they went to investigate, he was nowhere to be found. What they did find was cloths with blood on them and bottles of wine. And the policemen decided to pour themselves wine, but found that the wine wasn't just wine, it was wine mixed with human blood. Vampire confirmed. Filling our number 3 slot is the slave girl of Myrtle's plantation. Now, this happened during a time where racial segregation was still prevalent in America and slavery was still a thing. In the 1800s, Myrtle's plantation was a lovely establishment owned by Judge Clark Woodruff, where he lived with his wife and 2 daughters, as well as a few slaves. I'm talking few, but it was probably more than a dozen. A respected man of integrity to the town, but behind closed doors, he liked to have his way with his female slaves. Chloe was one of those slaves. She was disgusted by the advances, but thought if she didn't oblige, then he'd kick her out to the fields with the other slaves. And nobody wants to be on the field. So she complied, but after a while she thought maybe he was just getting tired of her. Just a side note, he twisted her ear once really badly to the point she started wearing a turban to cover her wound, and I swear this becomes important later on. But anyway, she wanted to concoct a plan to win his favor again, and the opportunity came when his eldest daughter was having her birthday party. Chloe went and picked an oleander plant, knowing the leaves had a bit of poison, which she then added to the birthday cake. Her plan was that if the family got a bit sick, she could nurse them and prove herself. She lied to the children. She was actually careful to only add a bit of the plant, but she grossly miscalculated. Soon after, the daughters and the judge's pregnant wife were all dead. Talk about a grave mistake. So scared of what the judge would do to them because of Chloe, the other slaves formed a lynch mob and kidnapped Chloe while she slept and hung her. When she died, they threw her body into the Mississippi River. The judge turned the plantation into a bed and breakfast later on, and guests said they saw small kids in the hallway mirrors and heard them calling out to each other. Very much later, a new owner took a picture of the house and saw a shadowy person on the veranda that was wearing a turban. So people theorize the souls of these women are trapped on the property forever. Now at number 2 are the Casket Girls.